everyone, I'm Nicole with Guiding Echoes, the channel that is devoted to your spiritual and personal growth. And today I am going to share a video that has been requested by so many of you, and it is how to develop your abilities as a psychic medium. So this is for those of you who highly suspect that you're a psychic medium. Maybe your gifts just began opening, or maybe they've been opening off and on, and you would like to have more control over these gifts. You'd like to be able to enhance them, strengthen them, and use them at will. So the tips I'm going to give to you are not in any particular order, or I should say I'm not going to present them to you in order of importance, because I believe that the order of importance is going to rely on you. After you hear these tips and suggestions and you put them into practice, I want you to just pay attention to the ones that resonate with you the most and the ones that really seem to awaken that mediumship vibe in you, the ones that really make you feel more alive and make you feel as if you are building a stronger connection to spirit and a stronger connection to your own higher self. That is the order of importance that I want you to follow once you find these tips and play with them, okay? So the very first tip that I have for you is to find a spiritual practice that you really enjoy. And I want you to enjoy this spiritual practice because it's something that you should be doing daily. Now, for those of you who don't know, I first began my psychic mediumship journey after learning how to read tarot cards. And this whole thing kind of happened by accident. I won't get into that story too much because I made another video about it. I will put a link to that in the description area down below, and I'll set up a little card for it either on this side of the screen or that screen. I don't know where it's going to pop up. So if you're interested to know how I became a psychic medium, you can check that out. But the reason I bring that up is because had I not learned how to read tarot cards, had I not made that a daily practice to enhance my own intuition and help me to develop my own psychic abilities, I'm not sure that my psychic mediumship gifts would have ever kicked up. I mean, I'm sure they would have at some point in the future, but having a daily spiritual practice, which for me was tarot, really helped to jumpstart everything. So the reason that this is important is because any type of spiritual practice that you engage in, whether it's working with tarot cards, angel cards, maybe it's Reiki, maybe you really enjoy working with Reiki energy, maybe you like speaking to your angels, whatever that practice is, it does two things for you. One is that it builds your relationship with the spirit world, and that's very important. So it helps you to gain daily contact to the world that you initially want to build a relationship with anyway, and it helps you to have your own needs met. Self-care is so important and so overlooked when it comes to psychic mediums, and it makes sense. You know, when you start to realize that you can speak with ghosts and spirits, you get excited about it, and it can become an obsession. You know, you just want to work on making that bridge to the other side stronger, making your communication better. And so we kind of forget to take care of ourselves, and taking care of ourselves is very important. So of course there's, you know, eating a healthy diet, getting plenty of exercise. Those are all things we should be doing anyway. But there is such a thing as spiritual hygiene, spiritual self-care. So finding a spiritual practice that you can stick with will help you to remain filled up energetically, all right? Because, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. The second tip I have for you is so important, and that is to practice awareness. And this is really an inner awareness. The reason this is important is because spirit works with us on many different levels. They will put visions in our head. They will speak words into our mind. But another thing that they can do is they can give us impressions in our body. And these impressions do come to us in physical sensations, and we have to learn what they mean. And the truth is, our body is speaking to us all the time. Think of what it feels like when you're stressed out. Do your hands get warm? Do they get kind of clammy? Do you feel palpitations in your heart? Does your heart beat really fast? Do you start to sweat? Do you get a really uncomfortable feeling in your stomach? Like, what does stress feel like to you? And I want you to think about that for a moment. And even as you're watching this video, think about what stress feels like to you. You got that feeling? Okay, good. Spirit can work with that. Spirit can absolutely work with that. So if a spirit comes through and they're trying to show you that they lived a very stressful life, or they were very stressed out towards the last few days or months leading up to their passing, they might bring those feelings up inside of you. And when you're making that connection to the spirit world, if you're unfamiliar with how different emotions and sensations feel in your body, because maybe you constantly block them out and you don't want to deal with them, then when these emotions come up and when these feelings and sensations come up, you're not going to know how to interpret them. In fact, you might assume that you're getting sick and you might end the session. So what I want you to do is I want you to become intimately aware of your own emotions and your own thought process. And this can be scary for those of you who have avoidant personalities, because what we do is we avoid our own feelings, right? And those of you who might consider yourself light workers, you have been taught by many different well-meaning teachers that you need to focus on only the positive. And I don't agree with that statement. And I'll make a video on that another time, but I believe all of our emotions are feedback. I believe all of our thoughts are feedback. And even fear can be our intuition talking to us, telling us that we need to take a step back. So I believe that both negative thinking and positive thinking have their place in our lives, but we need to be mindful of them. And when you are mindful that life is made up of both positive experiences and what we would consider negative ones, then that gives us permission to reach out to the spirit world even more, because that means that spirit can be open and honest with us about all of the positive and negative things that have taken place in their life. They know that we're not going to block out the negative messages because we're afraid of them, because they don't fit in alignment with our own beliefs. So mediumship is really about taking a step back from yourself and allowing spirit to speak through us. Whether or not we like the message, it really doesn't matter, because the message is never about us. We're just the vessel. We are simply the person or the tool or whatever you want to call us that allows that message to come through to the sitter, to the person that spirit wants to connect with. Okay, so become very aware of your emotions. Do not try to block them out. Do not try to ignore them. Next time you feel sadness coming up, sit with that. The next time you feel despair coming up, sit with that. The next time you feel hope coming up, sit with that. Get intimately familiar with these, because this is how spirit is going to work with you. The third tip that I have for you is to get clear on your why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be a psychic medium? Why do you want to connect with the spirit world? Why do you want to enhance your abilities to speak with spirit and to those who haven't crossed on? The reason this is so important is because when we are focused on our why, it gives us drive. And I can guarantee you that there are going to be so many times when you're on this path and you're going to wonder if you should throw in the towel. The deeper you go down this path, the longer you travel it, the more you're going to notice that there are very incredible, amazing, life-changing experiences that you have. There's also some pretty sad experiences that you'll have too. The more you start to talk about spirit, the more you open up, the more you're going to find that there are people who back away from you, people who you love, adore, and admire, because they're not going to know how to accept this new spiritual version of you. They're not sure what to do with that. And there's going to be times where you want to connect with spirit. Maybe your connection feels as if it's weakened or it's just not strong enough. And you'll start to wonder to yourself, am I really a medium? Am I even good at this? Should I even continue down this road? Is this worth it? So if you focus on your why, and if your why is built on a foundation of character, of honesty, of integrity, your why will continue to bring you back to this path, and you will find that your path is formed out of purpose, right? You have to know why you're doing this work. And if you're going to stick to this long term, the why has to be stronger than you're just curious about it. You just have to know if you can do this. Reality is that anyone can talk to spirit, guys. Anyone can talk to spirit. Anyone can develop these abilities. And some just have a more natural tact at it than others. Some are going to advance faster than others, and some will just always have a stronger connection. But the truth is, anyone can learn how to become a psychic medium and how to connect with the spirit world. Just like anyone can learn how to speak Russian or Spanish, or anyone can learn how to sing, but they may not speak those languages well. They may not sing well. They can do it, but maybe they're off key. They can speak Russian, but maybe they can't roll their R's, and so it never sounds very good. But they can still do it, right? And so that's kind of how psychic mediumship is. Anyone can learn to develop that language, but not everyone's going to be 100% amazing at it. And so you need to understand that the more you practice and enhance and work with these gifts, the better you're going to get, because it's not just a gift, it's a skill. It's a gift that all of us have. We all have this ability, but it does require skill to be able to do it. I won't say perfectly, because I don't know if we ever really perfect this gift, but it does take practice to get you to a point where you feel confident in it, where you really believe in what it is that you're doing, and you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are connecting with spirit. So know what your why is, because it will guide you along the way. And the other thing I want to say about this too is, if your why is selfish, if your why is because you think it'd be a great party trick, or you think it's going to get you fame and fortune, there's a couple things you need to know. One is, you're sorely mistaken. True, you might become popular at parties. That's a given. People love psychics, and they unfortunately put us in the entertainment field sometimes. And by entertainment field, I mean that they just see us as entertainment. They don't take what we do to heart. They don't believe in it. The second thing is that nobody likes to be used, not even the spirit world. So that doesn't mean spirit won't use you if you're available and if they need to get a message through to a loved one. But know that if you're using the spirit world to become famous or to make money, or if your reasons are inherently selfish, spirit's not going to respect you because you don't respect them. They may still use you just like you're using them, but it's not going to be a very good relationship. And really, that's what I want you to keep in mind, is that your connection with the spirit world is a relationship with spirit, okay? So again, think about your why. If you notice that your why is selfish, then change it. Change your why and make it your point to have a why that is based on integrity, that is based on helping other people, and start striving towards that instead. The fourth tip that I have for you is to connect with the spirit world frequently. So this kind of goes along with the first tip that I gave you, but it's a little different, because in the first tip, it's also about your wellness, your spiritual hygiene, taking care of yourself and staying grounded on your own spiritual practice. This is different because I want you to find a way to connect with the spirit world on your own. So this can mean that you just talk to the spirit world. It could mean that you're journaling. One of the things that I enjoy doing when it comes to connecting with spirit is writing them letters. I will write letters to spirit. And the reason I do this is because it helps me to stay focused. I have a big issue with my mind wandering off when I am connecting with my guides or spirits or angels, whether it's through prayer or I'm having a conversation where I talk to spirit and they speak back. My mind does wander a lot. And so journaling, writing down my letters to spirit, helps me to stay on point, helps me to get my point across, and then also helps me to just kind of relax and, I guess you could say, surrender into the energy of spirit, which is a beautiful thing. And many times I get an answer back. So I want you to also think about who may be on the other side for you. Do you have friends on the other side? Do you have a family member? Maybe you have ancestors that you've never met before. Start connecting with them. See if you can build a relationship with them. And most of the time, our spirit guides are people who have crossed over and they decided to stay there so that they could become guides to us. So even working with your spirit guides is a wonderful way to connect to that side as well. Just speak to them daily, talk to them daily, open up your mind and your energy so that they can speak back to you. That is going to be a very, very powerful way for you to enhance and solidify your connection to the spirit world. So number 5 is what I have all of my students do when they first start working with me. So if you ever sign up for mentorship with me, for mediumship mentorship, just be aware that this is the first assignment you're gonna have, okay? And so that is that I want you to start practicing the ability to read energy in different areas. And here's what I mean by that. I want you to go to a park, to a graveyard, to a historic site, to some place that you've never been to before. And I want you to just sit down there, take a nice deep breath in, close your eyes if you can, and just notice how everything feels around you. With your eyes closed and with your attention focused on everything around you, I want you to notice, how does the temperature feel? What is the temperature like? How does the air feel? Is it fresh and breezy, or does it feel stale and almost sticky? What are the sounds like? Can you hear voices in the background? Are there actual people walking by or walking around? Do you hear footsteps? Do you hear people talking? Do you hear the trees moving? What do you hear? And what do you feel outside of the physical sensation of temperatures in the air? Is there another feeling that you get? Does this area have a feeling of sadness, tranquility, joy? What is the overall vibe? And I want you to just sit with that for a moment. And as you start to get these sensations, as you start to really feel into these different vibes, I want you to just imagine that you can expand your own energy out so that it goes miles beyond this place. And as you extend your energy out, I should say as far as you're willing to, whatever feels comfortable for you, just notice if you feel any presence. Just notice if maybe an image of a person or even an animal or a symbol comes to mind. This is how you read energy. This is how you read the spirit world. And so getting in touch with the energies around us is vitally important to helping us to read the spirit world too, because the spirit world is energy. It is pure energy. So when we can read the energy of the room, the energy of a person, the energy of the environment we're in, those help to elevate our psychic awareness so that we can become more aware of spirit when they come to visit us and when they want to give us messages. Number 6 on the list is to join a mediumship development circle. This is going to be one of the most important steps that you will take in your mediumship development. And the reason I didn't mention it like within the first 1, 2, or even 3 steps is simply because sometimes we need to work ourselves up to it, right? Sometimes we need to practice these things in private before we're comfortable enough to practice them in public, or at least with a safe group. So in a mediumship development circle, you are going to be working with other people who have the same intentions that you do. You're going to be working with people who believe in this stuff, which means that you should feel supported and connected with your mediumship group. Now, if you end up finding a group and you find that the people aren't very welcoming, or maybe they're putting you down, or you just have an icky feeling, don't force yourself to keep going. I want you to find a mediumship development circle where you feel embraced, where you feel welcomed, where you feel understood, where it's just a good match. And not every mediumship circle has the same vibe. It's just like if you were to go to a church or you were to go to any other social gathering. You know, every different place that you go to has its own energy. So find a mediumship circle that has an energy that feels good to you, that has people that are fun to work with, that you look forward to going to every week or every month or however often the circle meets. A mediumship development circle is wonderful on so many different levels because not only do you gain a community, of course, but you get to experiment with different people in a very safe environment. And in a mediumship development circle, you're allowed to be wrong and not feel like crap over it. You know, so many times when we're new at this and we want to practice our mediumship abilities with different friends or even strangers or acquaintances, whoever they are, if we happen to get a message wrong, if we don't hear spirit correctly, or if the wrong spirit comes through, or if just something goes haywire, oh, we can be so embarrassed, can't we? We feel this deep sense of shame. The whole thing we start to wonder if we're a fraud, you know, imposter syndrome starts to kick in. I've been there, guys. I understand. I know how that feels. I get that it can just seem so frustrating and you really start to doubt yourself. And so I want you to know that making mistakes and not hearing spirit correctly and even pulling the wrong spirit in is all part of the journey. These are things that are going to happen, especially towards the beginning of your journey when you're first developing all of these beautiful mediumship gifts on purpose. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and that's good. That's actually really good because it's how you grow, it's how you learn. And so being able to be a part of a mediumship development circle allows you to be wrong in a safe environment where people aren't going to judge you for it. They're not going to be like, God, who does this person think? Who does this girl think she is? Like, she didn't even get the name of my aunt right. You know, there's not going to be that judgment there because everyone in that development circle is there for the same reasons you are, and they've all made those same mistakes. They've all had those same miscommunications. And they're going to give you instant feedback, okay? That's how you know that the spirits you're working with aren't just in your head. It relies so much on the validation. And working with a circle, you get that validation, you get it immediately, and you know that it's going to be honest, right? These people aren't going to sit there and bullshit you because they want you to develop your gifts. They want you to be really good at what you do. At least if it's a healthy circle, that's what they'll want for you. So they're going to be very honest in letting you know, no, you didn't get that right, or wow, you were spot on with this. You have no idea how much you nailed that personality. And then mediumship circles can be so much fun if you have a facilitator who puts a lot of, I would say, games up for you. Really, they're exercises, but I kind of see everything as a game. That's just how my personality is. And so a good teacher, a good facilitator or leader is going to have many, many, many different exercises for you to practice. And it can be a whole lot of fun. Now, I actually offer a mediumship development circle online. And the reason I started this circle is because I know that some of you live in areas where there aren't any mediumship development circles, or maybe there's a handful and you've checked them out and you don't care for any of them. So when that happens, there are different online development circles that you can look into. And of course, I have one available too. So I'll have the link to that in the description area down below so you can check that out, okay? So again, no pressure. I don't want this to be a sales pitch. I'm just letting you know that's a possible avenue for you as well. And the very last tip that I have for you is to follow, observe, and learn from other mediums. There's no shortage of mediums who have blogs, websites, podcasts, YouTube channels, obviously. There's no shortage of us out there. And so I want you to find the ones that resonate with you. Find the teachers, find the intuitives, find the empaths, find the mediums who are willingly, joyfully, pleasantly putting this information out there. Now, I'm someone who, when I start a new venture, I tend to dive into the deep end, man. I am one of those all or nothing type people. And what I've learned is that doesn't really work with intuition and with the spirit world. You kind of have to take it as it comes, and you really have to learn how to surrender to the experience, because the experience in mediumship and in intuition rarely ever goes the way that you think it will. So I want you to be sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with the different teachers that you follow and with the different exercises and methods and tips that you explore. So take baby steps into this. I would recommend that you follow no more than 3 teachers at a time. And again, the reason for that is just so that you don't get overwhelmed. And also keep in mind that many of us mediums, we don't agree on everything. There's actually a huge divide among us in terms of what happens in the afterlife. There's one camp that believes when you cross over, you go to heaven immediately. There's no purgatory. You don't stay behind and haunt anything. There's actually quite a few mediums that don't believe in hauntings, and they get really upset with those of us, and I put myself in the other camp, who do believe in these things. And I believe in purgatory and the darker realm because I've seen them. You know, when I've connected with spirit before, they've shown me that they're in a darker realm. They've shown me that they're stuck. They've shown me that they haven't crossed over. And I know I was connecting with that spirit because as I was explaining the symbols, the visions, the memories, the personality types of the person I've connected with, my client is sitting there validating all of it. So I know I've got the right spirit. And yet you still have this divide among mediums because some mediums, I guess, have never worked with spirits who have been in purgatory. So I don't understand how that works. I'm not going to try to understand what that works. But just know that mediums don't always agree with each other. And that's good news because it means that you don't have to agree with everything that you learn or hear from a medium either. You get to decide for yourself what resonates with you. And what you'll find is on this mediumship journey, your ideas, your theologies, your beliefs of the spirit world and how spirit communicates may change. You know, my beliefs are always changing, or I shouldn't say change. It's like they're always developing, right? There's this evolution of the soul that takes place, and it's almost as if spirit keeps bumping you up to the next level. So you have to learn this lesson, or you have to be able to expand your mind wide enough to understand this idea or belief before you can move on to the next one. And so sometimes a medium or a spiritual teacher, author, may give us some information that doesn't sit right with us because we're not in an area of understanding where we can fully grasp that message yet. And that's okay. You don't have to believe everything. You don't have to even understand everything. So just accept that there's things you don't know. Just accept that you're probably going to have some biases, and that's okay. And as you continue on this journey, your beliefs, your understanding, they're going to evolve. They're going to develop. Some of them are going to change in drastic ways, all based on your experience with spirit. Okay. So don't take anything that any medium says as the gospel truth. Just take it as, okay, well, that's that person's belief and experience, and it's interesting and it's fascinating, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, you know, just in the midst of that, allow your own experience to develop, okay? So stick to your journey, but still learn what you can from other mediums. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I would like to welcome you to the Guiding Echoes community, and I'd also like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here on this channel, we love to talk about psychic mediumship, consciousness, angels, things of that nature, and if that's up your alley, you've come to the right place. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also hit that little bell icon so you can be notified when I release new videos in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.